What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review, coming out of Long Island, New York. With me today, we got my brother B.
What up, everybody? How you doing?
What up, B? With me, too, also, we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Yes. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we told you to come back. Come back to the podcast because tonight we talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, otherwise known as Doctor Strange in the M.O.M.
Doctor Strange's mom.
So listen, just to be fair to everybody out there who hasn't had a chance, not everyone can go to the movies the first weekend the movie comes out. So we don't want to ruin it for those people who haven't got a chance to see it. So we're going to do a non-spoiler first, where we're going to just talk about like the little things that won't spoil the movie for you, just based off of what we know won't spoil it for you. And then after that, we'll give you a heads up that we're going to stop talking about stuff that are non-spoilerish and get into a full detailed what we think, what we thought of everything, the surprises, the things that happened in this story that were absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it, man. Al, talk to me, my brother. What did you think of this movie with a non-spoiler review?
Non-spoiler, don't take your kids to it. It's not that kind of MCU movie. When they said that they were going to bring the horror into MCU with this one, they did. I mean, there were some scenes in there that it could have been a horror movie straight out. Some of the scenes, I know there was one scene they showed in the trailer with Wanda, and it comes out, and it's supposed to be, I guess, insinuating blood, but it was obviously oil or something.
Right.
But kid, the visuals on here, the story, we'll get into that with the spoiler, but I walked away a little underwhelmed for the movie. I guess, hyping it up so much, and Multiverse of Madness and everything, and I enjoyed the movie. The graphics were off in some parts, but for the most part, that movie was ridiculous. The story, I thought they did a good job with each of the characters. I liked the way they portrayed every character. The story for each character, I felt, had a good arc. It was just the aspect of the multiverse I felt that they could have done a little bit more with, given the context of the fact that it's the main subject of the title. But no, I walked away entertained, but underwhelmed given my expectations going in.
Yeah, I absolutely feel you. And definitely Marvel thought that they were Blumhouse for a second there.
Oh yeah, they really did.
They did a couple of things that were definitely in the horror genre. And when people start telling you that all Marvel movies are the same, no
way.
And when they tell you
way.
that directors have no influence, no. This was definitely a Sam Raimi movie as far as the horror aspects go, and some of the stuff that happens in the movie, and as well as like it was just a different Marvel movie. And I think that's what maybe took me out of the movie a little bit, because you're expecting this huge spectacle because it's the Marvel franchise. It's going to be something big. And then what's worse is what we already tell ourselves what might happen in this movie. And when these things don't happen, or they do, they either surprise you, they don't surprise you, or you're left wanting more when you shouldn't be wanting more. Yeah. And I think a lot of us, especially myself, was hoping for certain things to happen in this movie that just didn't happen. But at the same time, it was a good story. When I left, I wasn't sure if I liked the movie a lot, but I ended up saying, you know what, it was a good movie, but I expected more from Marvel at this stage of Multiverse of Madness and all the stuff we've been seeing, and all the hype around this movie. You thought it was going to do something more. I know people think about the runtime being 2 hours was a little short. People think 2 hours and a half is a normal Marvel movie, and it probably would have benefited from a little bit more time with the story, because some parts did feel rushed, but then there's parts that felt like it was slow, but then it would pick back up the pace, and it was just kind of like a little bit all over the place as far as that goes. But I mean, as far as what we saw, it was pretty damn interesting and cool.
Yeah.
I just wish they gave us either more or they stuck the story more a little bit better. But I think it was a good time. I thought I had a good time, and I feel like the movie was good. How about you, B? What did you think of the movie?
I had to think about it a while too, and it's funny because I had just rewatched Doctor Strange going into this movie,
Right.
and this felt like a Doctor Strange movie. Like it felt like, I mean, conceptually, visually, it was a Doctor Strange movie, and I thought the visuals were actually pretty well done. Like you said, in some spots, like you can tell, like they weren't entirely sure what they wanted to do with that, so it was kind of like not done the best. But
Right.
visually, they did really good with a lot of the multiversal kind of aspects. Um, it really felt like the sequel to Doctor Strange. Like I'm like when I finished watching Doctor Strange 1, I said, "Oh, that was cool. Like I enjoyed it. Like it was something I enjoyed, but it wasn't Winter Soldier. It wasn't, it wasn't Thor Ragnarok. It wasn't this. It was Iron Man 2. It was it was Iron Man 2, it was Shang-Chi, it was, that's where it stacks up. And I think
Right in the
that's,
middle.
yeah, like it's just mid-tier, like it's just a movie to be enjoyed. And I think it's the same thing, when we have a movie like this, like I feel like we expected more out of this movie than we're gonna get in Thor and in Black Panther, right? Like this was supposed to be like the sequel to Spider-Man No Way Home, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I think we went into this expecting banana hammock craziness, and there was a lot of craziness. Like the madness part about the multiverse and that was true. There was a lot of madness. Like there was some crazy shit happening. Multiverse wise, I feel like we didn't really get Multiverse of Madness. I feel like we
No.
got 4 verses of madness, like
4
so
verses of madness,
like
not multi.
there was a part in the movie where you could say, yeah, oh, there was many multiverses, but like truthfully, we were in like 4 verses. So like I think we were a little overwhelmed in terms of what we were gonna see. Story wise, I thought for a Doctor Strange movie, it met the mark of a Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
Whereas I truly felt that this was an incredible performance for Scarlet Witch Elizabeth Olsen,
Yeah, she
but
did
also
thing.
at the same time underutilized, which is weird. Because in this movie, she is a main point in this movie, and where I think she killed it all the time. The entire movie, she was incredible. I'm astounded by her acting talent in this movie. I know she was good, but this movie she was great. I just felt like at the same time, what they did with her story coming out of WandaVision was almost as if they forgot WandaVision.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was
So
one of my issues with the movie.
so I mean, for as a rating goes, I thought the movie was great. I thought it was a very enjoyable, but great on the terms of this is a Doctor Strange sequel. This is not Winter Soldier. This is not Avengers Infinity War. Like, it's not that
Right.
kind of great. Like, this is, you're going to go to the theater. I would recommend not bringing your kids. This is a good time. You're going to enjoy the movie, but you're going to have gripes about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think both of you guys just said it. It is really the fact that coming out of WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home, this is supposed to be the 3rd chapter of this multiverse story, featuring Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange and the whole multiverse thing. And I just think that they must have forgot some of the stuff that they did in the previous movies, because it's just like, wait a minute. I thought this and I thought this happened and I thought this was over, but yeah, spoiler version, guys. We'll get into it. Yeah, man. But I mean, as far as like, they didn't really try to give you too much of who the villain is in this movie, so we won't do it here.
Yeah.
But the villain of the movie I felt was good. It just was a little unexpected and handled a little bit, I want to say rushed, but it wasn't. It's weird because it was a flip of a switch, and it was like, oh, okay, this is our bad guy. Oh,
We're in. We're in.
Oh, this is it. Like 15 minutes in. Like
with no setup, because the last time we saw the villain, there's no context as to why they were this bad.
Yeah, I thought things were so. I thought that we figured things out. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. And then we just go from there. But then I feel like the middle of the movie was a little slow, trying to figure
Hmm.
out what's happening and how they're gonna, solve this issue.
Yeah.
But like I said, there was a couple of things that came out of left field.
Uh,
Now, listen, we all saw the commercials with Patrick Stewart. I will say this, man, the Illuminati was type crazy as far as like, oh my God, they're in this movie, and oh my goodness, look at this, look at that. But in the end, Brandon called it, man.
Spoiler.
Spoiler, Brandon called it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say what Brandon said, because just in case you didn't hear the
The
previous
last
podcast.
episode, yeah.
But yeah, man, Brandon called it, man.
I think I think one of the things for me in this movie particularly is I feel like Marvel still doesn't have a grasp on the whole concept of the multiverse.
No.
Like I feel like it's where they want to head, but they just don't know how they're doing it. And I feel like this could have been a really easy setup, but I feel like they're overcomplicating it. Like this movie just made the multiverse seem like this, but this show made it seem like this, and this show made it seem like this. And now I'm like, well, now there's a new term that we have that sets
Mhm.
up another movie, which is actually pretty cool. But I'm wondering why this event didn't happen in other shows and other movies because of the way
Right.
they talked about it. So I kind of feel like
Yeah.
they're trying to figure out the multiverse and they're overcomplicating it. Whereas I feel like it's actually a really simple complex. Like I feel like Spider-Man Into the Multiverse set it up perfectly. Like the multiverse is an infinite number of Earths, and for some reason, at one point, we may be able to visit them, like because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's the easiest way to do. Like they're parallel Earths, and in this movie, they actually did a good job of explaining some things, but it went
Yeah.
against what happened in this show and went against what happened in this movie. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm a little confused now because I feel like Marvel doesn't know where they're going with that,
Yeah.
unless they
And
do and they
Al,
just want to complicate it.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Now, Al, was gonna ask you, man, as far as like the post-credit scenes, in my opinion, man, these are probably the weakest two post-credit scenes
Yeah.
I've seen Marvel do.
These are the most
Yeah.
Sam Raimi credit scenes you've
Yeah.
ever seen.
I mean, one introduces a character without any context. Like,
And I
Like you,
think half the creator was like, "Who's that?"
yeah, no, not only that, the end of the actual movie shows something happened to Strange. And then all of a sudden, the cutscene shows as if he's a pro at that event. Meanwhile, supposedly not much time has happened. So how did he already learn how to master that
Or control
new?
whatever it was. Yeah.
it
Exactly.
reminds me
Without getting
of
into spoilers.
it reminds me of what they did with was it Captain America and the Ant-Man movie? Like kind of how they put in a scene from that movie as the credit
Oh yeah,
scene.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's
Yeah.
what it seemed like to me because like it didn't make sense. So it was like,
yeah.
oh, well
Mhm.
maybe that's just gonna be a scene at the beginning
From
of
the
the
next
movie
movie,
or at
could
some
be.
point in the beginning of the movie or middle of the movie, like
Yeah,
because that it's like you said, like this event happened and it looks like this next scene happens like 10 minutes later, in the
yeah. And all of a
same
sudden he's
kind
a
of
pro.
setting. So it's kind of like this happened. He's like, all right, yeah, cool, all right, all right. Like so it's like
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
I feel like
And
it's
then
gonna
the
be like that Ant-Man thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then the actual end scene, like after the
Mhm.
credits and
Stupid.
everything. Yo, I felt like we were getting trolled. Like I
Yeah.
felt like they were making fun of us.
That was the
Yeah.
most Sam Raimi thing I've ever seen.
It's just ridiculous, man. All right,
Great.
so listen, let's give our final recommendations so we can get into the spoilers, because usually that takes a long time to talk about and stuff. So let's
Yeah.
get right into it. Al, your overall thoughts on the movie, and what would you say to people? Should they watch it? Should they rush to go see it? What do you
Hell
think?
no, no. You definitely still have to watch this movie. Don't
Absolutely.
like I said, you're talking about people, or at least I'll speak for myself. You're listening to someone who went in expecting not to expect nothing. Like I went in there saying, okay, I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Right.
And I went in expecting so much stuff to happen, especially like you said, they showed us Professor X. They showed us Captain Carter in the trailers. And then you're also hearing, oh, this movie is going to have so much more surprises than even Endgame. And I'm like, shit, if they're showing us Professor X, they're showing us Captain Carter, then the stuff they're not showing us is gonna,
blow my mind.
It's gonna make me go crazy.
Yeah.
So for none of that to happen, I left there again for the movie as it was. Great movie. Go watch it. Go watch it in a theater. Go watch it in IMAX. From what I understand, it was made for 3D, so I'm actually tempted to go back and watch it in 3D.
Same.
So it's definitely a movie to watch. Just don't go over expecting too much to happen. Just go and know you're going to see a horror movie with superheroes in
it. Oh yeah.
But definitely go see it in a theater. That's definitely this is definitely one of those in a theater movies.
Yeah, man. B, how about yourself?
I'd say you need to see it. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. You're going to enjoy it. It continues the MCU story, so if you're into the MCU or you just want to see like a good movie, then definitely go see it. Like, it's not a bad movie by all means. It's just not the movie we were expecting.
Yeah. And I'm going to kind of like go off of that a little bit, man. I'm not going to say you need to see it because it's like, if you're not a Marvel fan, I wouldn't want you to go see this movie like that. I think you still should see it. If you're not a Marvel fan and you just want to see a good movie, yeah, check it out. It's pretty interesting. And there's some cool stuff that happens, especially if you're into or were into comic books and you know a couple characters. You may see some people that you like. However, there's some things I didn't like about the movie, and I think even MCU fans can admit that this movie wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. It was really good. It was good. I think my expectations probably weren't met, and that's why I was like, "Oh, like Al just said, you showed these two people. Who else is in this movie? You know what I mean?" And it wasn't anything too crazier than that. I mean, there was some good stuff there, which we'll get into the spoilers, but I think our expectations, or even just my expectations for what I thought this movie was going to be and lead to, just didn't happen. And I think I was just a little disappointed with that. And as well as I felt like some parts of the story were rushed and some parts of the story were like slow. It just wasn't a great movie, but I think you still should see it. And I'm personally like, Al, I heard this movie is fantastic in 3D, so I'm looking for an IMAX 3D theater with laser IMAX 3D, which is in Regal over here in Deer Park, which is close by. Nice. So might have to do that, but we'll see. Yeah. So listen, that is our non-spoiler review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, otherwise known as Doctor Strange 2. Now we're going to get into our spoilers edition of this review, where we're going to go into all the details and all the things and thoughts and opinions that we have about there without no regards for what happened in this movie. So listen, you've been warned. We're going to go from here on out. Pauses if you haven't seen the movies. Come back to us when you have watched the movie, and here come the spoilers. Brandon, talk to me, man. Your real true thoughts on this movie. What surprised you? What didn't? What worked?
I thought, like I said, I thought it was great. I just think that Sam Raimi had no idea what happened in WandaVision. I think one of the biggest problems in this movie for me was the fact that there was no vision. It just
didn't make any sense.
It just didn't make sense to not have vision in this movie. Like, I understand, like, even if Vision showed up at the end or something, but because of, like, you're telling me that in every universe, Wanda has kids and no Vision. You're telling me all these universes happen and she miraculously has kids? Like there's no father in sight. I'm not trying to be like patronizing or paternal in any way, but it's like in all of these universes that she's found her kids, because she's found all of them, not one of them has Vision, or around. Vision is dead or not a thing. So that didn't make any sense to me. And then as well with Wanda, I knew Wanda was going to be the villain in this movie. She was the only one that we saw, and she seemed pretty snarky in those trailers, that it seemed like she was going to end up being the villain somehow. 15 minutes in was a lot quicker than I thought, but at the same time, from the growth at the end of WandaVision that she had dealing with grief, even using the Darkhold, I understand the concept of the Darkhold, but even using the Darkhold, it seemed as if all of that went out the window, because it was
now
all
you're
about
ready to kill
kids.
other people.
Yeah,
now you're ready to kill other people like that.
She realized what she did was wrong with Westview, and that she didn't mean to do it. She did do it, and she knew she was doing it, but she didn't really mean for the events to happen. But going through grief the way she did, she accepted it in the end and tried to move
Mm-hmm.
on from it, only to then kill an entire temple of fucking wizards. Like what?
Not only that, B, but willing to kill a child for her powers.
Across
Yeah.
the multiverse, she found this kid across the multiverse. Like, I gotta kill you.
Not only that, you realistically, she had, because remember, she even gets asked this throughout the movie. Like, she was gonna have to do something to herself as well in another universe,
Yeah.
because in order to get her kids from another universe, she even
Right.
got asked, "What are you gonna do to you in that universe
Mm-hmm.
in order to get those kids?" So, yeah, I don't know. And
I don't
Yeah.
know. I loved Elizabeth Olsen. I thought she did incredible in this movie. I actually
Yeah.
like a lot of the plot involving her. I just felt like the story didn't understand what happened before. Like,
Yeah.
and just the lack of vision. Like, just like even at the end of the movie, it would have made sense for Vision to show up. Like, it actually would have made
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like, not even like a wanting of mine for White Vision to show up. No, it actually would have made sense if Vision did show up. So like
Right, to save her at the end of the
yeah,
movie or something, or
Yeah.
like
help out or talk her out of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it just didn't make sense for that to not be a thing.
Yeah, man. And listen, and it could have easily been solved with just a couple of words. Just be like, in every universe, Thanos kills Vision. So that way we know why he's not in any of these
Yeah.
versions of the thing. Because it's one of those, what do they call them in What If? It's one of these events that has to happen no matter what part of the universe you're in.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
forgot the name what they called it
It's
there.
not a Nexus
Something.
event.
No, I forgot what it was
No.
called, but it was some kind of an event where it
yeah.
always has to happen no matter where you are.
In
This
every
event happens.
universe, yeah, it happens. Yeah.
So if they had said something like that, but then it's like, you're telling me every single universe doesn't have a Vision, or she just didn't seem like she cared about Vision. Like, all she wanted was the two
No.
kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, part of the reason that Westview happened was because you missed Vision. The kids came
Yeah.
after the fact,
Yeah.
in your imagination and all that stuff like that. So it's like, where's Vision, and how come Vision's not playing a part in this for your story of what you feel and what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
And also, again, like Al had said earlier, it was within like 15 minutes of the story of like legitly the movie, and then all of a sudden it's like she removes the hex from where she is and she's the bad guy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what? Like
Yeah.
that?
And you know what?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
caught on to the
And
line too. Go ahead, Al. You go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, like what you said in terms of given where like the whole arc of WandaVision was her going through her grief,
Mm-hmm.
realizing that she was wrong in putting all these people through what she did in order to live this fantasy that she wanted to live, becoming the good guy again, letting everybody out, and then coming to terms with her grief.
Getting back on the lunchbox.
Yeah, for you to then take her and make her, because remember, she started off as a bad guy, became a good guy. Now you made her the semi bad guy again. Then you give her a redemption at the end. Why do you now take her to a complete 180 and make her an even worse villain than she was when she was first introduced to us? Like, what kind of arc are you doing? You're going up and down in terms of good and bad.
Right.
Like, I would have rather them had left her as the good Wanda that she became at the end of WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
And then since you're doing the multiverse, have one of the other Wandas be the one that came over.
That's what
And
I
is
thought was going to
trying,
happen. Yeah.
yeah, and is trying to get the kids. And she's like, listen, if I had to give them up, so do you. And that's how they become their conflict or something like that.
Right.
Like, and then, so for it to be, no, Wanda's the bad guy, like from the beginning, and you don't show what turned her over other than, oh, she used the Darkhold. I think it did a disservice to everything you made her character go through in WandaVision. Like, it almost made WandaVision pointless.
It really
did. Because all of that, the growth that she did throughout the series, you just took away by making her the bad guy from the beginning of this movie. And, to the point where she's willing to kill,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and viciously kill, to the point where, she was talking tough. She was like, me sending those demons, that was me being nice. I didn't go myself. Like I was like, shit.
Right?
Yeah,
She was
man.
good. That was real good.
Yeah,
I was a little
that's
hot
me being
bothered.
nice.
I was a little hot
Yeah.
bothered. That was all right. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
Wanda.
Yeah.
Wanda killed it in this movie, man. I mean,
Yeah,
she did her thing as far as like even just acting, and you felt her pain. You felt that she
Hmm.
was really, she was really going through something. But at the same time, it was just way too far for where her character left off in WandaVision, like you
yeah.
guys
Yeah.
said.
And
And
then
I
go ahead.
go for it.
I was gonna say, like, I was a little perturbed by the scene when when Doctor
Ugh.
Strange shows up at her farm. Doctor Strange knew it was a hex, and still like went along with this whole thing just to like give her the benefit of the doubt. Like when he sniffed the plant and he was like, "Oh, it smells." She goes, "Oh, sweet." He's like, "Real," and I was like, "Oh, he knew. He knew it was all fake. He knew she was doing it."
Hmm.
And I was just
Yeah.
like, "Yo."
Really, I didn't catch that.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
Like I had to think about it after the movie, how he knew because like I guess he was trying to figure out if it was her or somebody else. But like when he
Okay.
went there and he smelled the tree, the little flower, and he goes, "Oh, this smells." And she finished it for him. She goes, "Oh, it smells sweet." He goes, "Real." And then she
Hmm.
said the America line. He was like, and then he was like, "Oh, she was like, oh, I didn't say America. You never said
Dude,
the
how
name."
cheesy was that line?
That
Yeah.
was so
How
cheap.
cheesy was that? When
There
she's
was
like,
so many
"Oh,
hokey
you
lines in
never
this
told me
movie.
her first name." I was like, "Oh no."
There were
They
so
went
many
with the
hokey lines in this movie. This
they
was
went with
straight
the
up Spider-Man
CBS
2.
at 8 o'clock TV line.
It was so like the dialogue in Spider-Man 2. Like there was so much hokiness in this
Uh-huh.
movie. Like, okay, listen, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but I love Danny Elfman. I think Danny Elfman is incredible. But I don't know what happened in the third act of the movie where this entire thing became a musical. Like I don't know at what point from the sheet music battle that the two Doctor Stranges had fighting with music
Uh-huh.
notes and rhythms, then all of a sudden going into the Wanda battle at the end, and the music is at like 100. Like from the point that he saw the other Doctor Strange, this became a straight up musical. And like while it sounded cool, it just threw me off because I was like, well,
Yeah.
what? Why is the music so loud? It's been off the whole movie. Why is it now on?
Oh my
I
goodness,
thought this
man.
was an AMC issue.
Crazy, man. Well, let's talk about some of the parts of this movie that we did like, man. And I think one of the things that we have to say that we did like was actually Benedict Cumberbatch as all the Doctor Stranges that we saw, right? We
Yeah, he was
saw
Hmm.
great.
Defender
Yeah.
Strange, Zombie Strange, regular Doctor Strange, evil Doctor Strange, and the legend of the Doctor Strange that was part of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
He played all these different characters, and I thought that he played them well because he made them a little bit different, but at the same time, it was like they all kind of have those similar tropes that lead to him being a dick that he is sometimes. You know what I mean? Where where he told Spider-Man and Iron Man that if it's between him and the freaking the Infinity Stones, he'll give them up without a doubt.
Yeah.
And you see that happen with America Chavez in the beginning of the movie. And then it's
Hmm.
also almost at the end of the movie where even America Chavez looks at him and she goes, "You're gonna just do it, so just do it," And
Yeah.
he's like, he finally comes to the realization that he doesn't need to do it, that he can rely on somebody else's help to continue the battle or fight for us. I don't know, it's crazy, man. I think Doctor Strange did his thing. How
Yeah.
about you guys? What you guys think of Doctor Strange?
Yeah. No, like you said, he showed growth. He showed development. They showed his arc. As crazy as the movie was, in terms of balancing between him and Wanda, like I felt like it
Mm,
was both of their movie. Um, but it showed an arc for him. To your point, it started off with Christine telling him that the reason why they didn't work out was because he always had to be the one with the knife,
mm.
and ending the movie where even Wong was telling him take her power,
That was crazy.
and yeah. So for it to get to the point where even Wong was saying this was the thing to do, and he still said no, let me trust her, let me just teach her how to use her power, like that shows the growth for him. And I thought and it made sense in that movie. Like it didn't
Hmm.
feel like, okay, where did he get that kind of development from? So I thought they did a good job with that in terms of his growth, and showing how he became that Doctor Strange at the end of the movie.
Yeah. How about you, B? What do you think of Doctor Strange?
I was really impressed with Benedict
Yeah.
Cumberbatch. I thought, like you said, he played 5 characters. He did his thing for all of them, and then I love the new spells. Like it wasn't just the stupid mirror dimension. Like I don't even think
Yeah.
we even saw that in this movie.
No mirror
Right? Like
dimension in
no
this one.
mirror dimension. It was just him doing all these new spells, doing all these cool things, learning more about himself as Doctor Strange. I think the only thing I didn't like was the ending, like the end credit scene, just because like I feel like it is a scene from another movie, but like
Mm-hmm.
I understand why they did it. I'm just confused why it was very hokey. It's considering how like serious his development was during the whole movie. Getting up to that point, I was like, I don't understand. Like, why is that so hokey when this was so serious for him up until this point? So I thought he did incredible. There was one thing I didn't like. I'm drawing a blank right now. Um, oh goodness, I just forgot it. But I really I love what he did. Oh, there what it was. So I hated this when I heard it, but it made sense to me after the movie. Was the reason why he's considered a bad person, and that was for giving up the time stone, right? Like because he gave up the time stone, which allowed Thanos to get all the
To do the snap.
stones, to
Yeah.
do the snap in the first place. And at first I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's stupid. And then I was like, oh, it makes sense, actually. You know what? Actually makes the sense. Like, it does make sense there. I was like, okay, I get it. Like, that was really big for Wanda because of what happened with Vision twice.
Mm-hmm.
How she had to do it the first time, then she watched him get crushed the second time, and she was helpless to do it. So it made sense to me. And I was and thinking the story and the elements of that whole thing leading up to where we are. I'm like, wow, it was that one event, and we go back to the one again. It was the one event that had to happen in order for them to be able to stop Thanos. And everything goes back to that moment, I guess. And I guess that's the moment in which the MCU, we have this timeline. And like I was like,
Yeah.
wow, it was the time stone that caused all of this. And I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty deep thought. Like I gave kudos to Marvel on that one after I thought it
Yeah.
was stupid. But I was like, that's actually really kudos right there. Like I get that. Like it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing now that just like bonkers me is the new vocabulary. The incursions.
Incursion.
The incursions now bonker me because now incursions mean when someone from one universe meets their replica or variant from another universe and they spend time together. And that means 2 universes may end up crashing and one of them surviving. So I understand at the end of No Way Home, we all forgot Peter Parker, Spider Man, but they spent like a whole day together. Like, 3 of them. There was 3 of the Spider Men. They hung out for like a whole day. And
They
you're telling
hugged.
me, like, they hugged, they touched, like, they made jokes, they communed together. Like, like, you're telling me that one of them didn't lose a universe? Like, like.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty insane. There's a couple of things that didn't make sense in the movie, and one of the things that was like just glaring, like that's weird. It was we go to the Kamatage,
Yeah.
and they're like panning through all the people in Kamatage, all the wizards, and they just scroll past a fucking green ox, and like we don't get his name, we don't get where the fuck he came from. It's just a green ox standing up. That's a wizard.
Deal with it. Deal with it. That's it.
Are we at the point where weird shit just comes on the screen? We're like, okay, no explanation needed. It's cool.
Nobody's gonna bring it up. Nobody's asking.
No one's gonna. I think I said it to one of you guys. I was like, so we're not gonna explain the green fucking cow that's standing there as a wizard. We're just gonna be like, okay, he's part of the team now. Like
That's normal.
Where did he come
He's
from?
an Avenger.
Who is that?
He's the next Avenger.
He's like, you're gonna show me that shit before Better A Bill? Like, I'm like, and like no one said anything, but nobody was like, "Who's that?" or "What?" And it was just like, "Oh yeah, cool." Like,
Yeah.
right,
Green cow.
green cow, yeah, just hanging out there, fucking with a fake shield.
Yeah, okay. I think I asked it. I think I asked you this during the movie too. Like, was it me or when she was coming? Wong said for every wizard to come and provide protection.
Yeah,
All of them. Like you had people from London and the
other places show up. Yeah,
other come. When Wanda kills them all, where the hell did all these guys that were restoring the place at the end come? Like,
the rookies,
That was the rookies. That was the
the
new
rookies, the one.
recruits. They went on New York State unemployment. They sent out some applications.
the ones that were told not to come to the show.
Yeah, like, you can come, not you, not you. You're not ready yet.
You do the
Yeah,
Now
when
you
we
can
say-
come fix it.
give me
When we
one of
say
these.
everybody come, we don't mean you guys.
Yeah, right. They should have. They should have put Ned in the end scene and doing that shit.
That's it. Can you give me one of these real quick? Just a little look. No, you don't
Just
got it.
one
You're
of
not in.
those.
You're not in.
Not ready, dude. That was just like beyond like just belief. Like what? Okay, but
Yeah.
anyway, besides the green cow standing in there
Yeah.
with a shield, the other thing I didn't really get is just like again from WandaVision to here, like yeah, we can see the power that Wanda has as far as creating a hex and creating life almost in
Mhm.
within the hex. But this girl, like, she turned into a witch. Like she was popping up behind people, whispering in their ears, like
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
she always
awesome.
had that power. She always had that power. Remember, that was what she did in Ultron when she got introduced.
oh, I thought she was just sneaking around people.
No,
Just
yeah,
whispering
remember that
shit.
she went to each of their heads and she put them, and that's how they all like
So that
Tony
was a
envisioned.
callback, if anything. Then
Yeah,
Yeah, that
okay,
was always her power. I like the way they had her use it.
because she was
Like
yeah, that
still
was
like
pretty
looking at
cool.
she,
people.
as powerful as she was, to really break through, all she had to do was find one. And even with that, she didn't make him do anything crazy other than telling him to run.
Run, yeah.
And
He
just
got
that
freaked out.
and just that little thing helped her create the whole.
Yeah,
So it just shows that, not only is she powerful, but it's not all about using the power. It's about that she's also smart with how she did it.
yeah.
Yeah.
How about her going after America Chavez in the Comitage? They
Yeah.
put her in like it was almost like a mirror universe, but it was really kind of like enclosing her inside of like
Yeah.
crystals that were sharp and stuff like that. And she was looking for just like one spot. And then she ended up what they were saying that she was going through the reflections.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was horrific, dude.
Yeah. She came out like the ring. I was like,
Yo,
what?
yeah.
Oh, that was like the ring. She came out like it from the refrigerator. Oh, dude. She was like putting her body parts back together. I was like, what are we watching?
Yeah,
This is
okay.
crazy. I don't know, man. But I like we already talked about Wanda to death. Like she killed it. The way
Mhm.
that she played this character, and she was like truly the horror villain in this movie. There's scenes where she's chasing America Chavez, Doctor Strange, and Christine Palmer
Mhm.
in the in the multiverse there, and it's like they're running, and she's like just like slowly coming after them behind them, like
They even gave
twitching.
her a limp in order to.
Yeah. She really killed it, man, as a horror
Yeah,
villain,
kid.
man. But
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
let's talk about one of the new characters that were in here, America Chavez.
Mhm.
Al, what was your thoughts on America Chavez? The way they portrayed her story and told us about her and her personality.
I like the way they did it, because
Mhm.
one of the things of knowing the background of the character, having two moms, and so forth, I like that they didn't make that
The
the
central part of
story.
her story,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I'm tired. No offense. I mean, I'm all for inclusion. Don't get me wrong. This is not a knock on that, but I don't like that they make it the story
Mhm.
at this point. In time, it's a part of life. Like stop making that the story. I like the
Mhm.
fact that they just showed, okay, she has two moms.
Boom.
She
Let's keep
is
it
that
going.
type of character.
Yeah.
That's her as a person. We don't have to make it the story. The story is what she's going through,
Right.
and not that she had two moms. So I
Right.
like that they just showed it. They didn't pay a special focus on it. They just showed this is what caused her to be going through these events. She was with her family, she got scared, and she sent her parents through a star tunnel and didn't know where they went.
And
Like,
even Doctor Strange too. Whenever
yeah,
he brought it up, it was just like your parents.
yeah,
Nothing like
yeah,
just
and I like
boom.
that. Like,
Yeah,
let's just accept
Mhm.
it's part of life now. You're gonna
absolutely.
have people of all aspects of life. We don't have to make the fact that theirs is different than ours a story. Like, just let it
Mm-mm.
be,
I think
and,
handled well, man.
yeah, I like the way, I like that it didn't become something other than seeing it as part of her story,
Like, oh
as
my
opposed to it
God,
being the
gay
story.
parents,
Yeah.
gay parents in the movie.
Like, okay, come on, guys. Yeah, it's not affecting your life. Let them have theirs. Relax already.
Hmm.
But in terms of then going from there and showing her, the only thing I didn't like was they didn't show her any development. Like,
Right.
because when they show that scene, she's a child. And at this point, she's what, like a late teenager, if not early 20s. Like, you're telling me in all that time she didn't learn any use of her power? Like, not one little bit of her
Yeah, what she
power
was
that
saying that the only
it's,
time she seems to use it is when she's scared, right? It
yeah,
just comes
like,
out, it just happens.
but if these powers are part of these people, like the ones that have it, the people that have these powers, like, you would think
Mm,
at some point you learn how to use it naturally, just like the same way you naturally will learn to walk. I
yeah.
would have thought that this would have been something that she, either through trial and error or trying to recreate it, like, let me go find my parents, let me try to recreate the event. Like, I would
Mm,
have thought at least that she'd have some knowledge of her power. So I thought that was a little odd that she was still this late in her life after the events and still had no knowledge of how to use her power. Um, but the actress, I thought she did a very good job.
yeah.
She handled
Sochi
the
Gomez,
scene.
I believe her name is.
Yeah, for coming in, and having to jump right into the MCU and run with such a, because I think this character has some,
Yo, dude, legitly, she came into the MCU running. Like,
literally,
that was the first scene, was her and Defender Strange running away from that monster.
yeah. But honestly, she's involved with two scenes that I thought showed that they must have been trying to save money for some of these other effects, because that green screen scene where she's running from the one-eyed monster for an MCU movie looked horrible. Like,
Really, which one?
In
like
the
when
beginning, the very
yeah, in
beginning.
the beginning when she's running from that one-eyed monster
Uh
and
huh.
it's behind her and she's like running,
Yeah.
it for it being an MCU movie, it looked green screen. Like, I
Oh
could
wow.
tell she's running in front of a screen. There's
Yeah.
like nothing behind her.
You know what? I heard it looks weird because it was meant for 3D, and I heard in the 3D that's one of the
That looks
best
crazy.
scenes is the way that it opens. Honestly,
Okay, so
yeah.
we'll see how, because I do want to see that. And then just the rooftop that they keep going to, like where they buried the other Doctor Strange and everything.
Yeah,
That's the first time I've looked at a scene and said, "Oh, that looks like a state. Like they
that's a
did it at a
stage.
state."
That's
Yeah,
the stage, yeah.
none of that shit is real. Like, that's the
Yeah,
first time in any of their movies I've looked at something and said, "Wow, that whole scene looks fake."
yeah, man, crazy,
But
man. How about you, B? What do you think of America Chavez, man? I thought her powers looked pretty cool with the big star that led to the multiverses there, and I think her character played well. How about you?
I think she's great. I think this is the start of, like, I'm hoping down the line some kind of Young Avengers thing, because in the future
Hmm.
she does become Miss America Chavez, kind of the Captain America replacement. So
oh,
there's high hopes for her. You know, I think her actress, I forget her name, she was incredible. I think she did a really good job. I think she's only 14 years old too. So for her to just
oh
jump in and
wow,
do this movie for the first time, like, I think this is her
Yeah,
first movie. So she did very, very well, being this her first
yeah,
yeah, she
movie.
killed it if that's the
Um,
case.
and I think her arc throughout the movie, just like Al said, from her losing her parents to even just kind of learning how to be herself, by the end of the movie, was really good for her, coming of age for any teenager. And I thought that was done very well, especially when Doctor Strange let her take the lead, and encouraged her at the end. I think that was very cool. A little out of place, but given the nature of the scene, it made sense. Like,
Yeah,
understanding, like, Doctor Strange's growth to let her take the lead and for her to have her moment, but it seemed a little weird the way it happened. But other than that, it was cool.
Yeah, man, definitely. And listen, and some of the stuff was pretty cool. I think the beginning of the movie was so like intense. We had the fight
Oh
with the
yeah,
Defender Strange, trying to get to the Book of the Good. Forgot the name of it.
I
Do
think
you
it was
Uh,
like the Robin or Ravishka. I don't know.
definitely not
The
Ravishka.
Revengers.
Yeah, the Book of the Good. We'll go with that.
yeah.
So whatever that book was, that was the Book of the Good that they were trying to get, they couldn't get to. Then we get to that the Shumagorath, which they couldn't say it's Shumagorath because of this like rights of
Oh
that
wow.
character or whatever. That battle was pretty interesting. You know what I thought was pretty cool was the fact that the monster originally was was invisible,
Hmm.
and it kind of brought me to what we were just watching, Moon Knight, when the monsters are invisible, no one can see them. I thought that was a pretty interesting element to it, and then Doctor Strange removed the I guess the invisibility of the animal or the creature or whatever it is, and that was a pretty cool fight. But I have to say, when I was watching it, I kept saying to myself, "This is Spider-Man 2. They're climbing up a building, the ledge falls, people fall down. I'm like, he's tricky guy. He's using Spider-Man too. All I needed to see was a train part, but
You imagine?
yeah, man. But let's talk about now the movie's called Multiverse of Madness. And I think this is the part that kind of let us down a little bit
The
because for me,
Quattroverse of Madness.
if they want to count the first time that Doctor Strange and America Chavez go through the multiverse, they show about like 7 or different universes really quick, but it's really quick. They're just flying through them, like almost like the first Doctor Strange when he gets the third eye touch
Hmm.
from the I forgot
Sorcerer
the
Supreme.
person's name, the Sorcerer Supreme there, and it reminded me of that. But I thought we were going to spend some time in different universes to see the characters in there, or maybe some heroes or some villains that we haven't seen in the MCU yet.
Yeah.
And all it really was exactly what we saw in the commercial, except a little bit more detailed and a few more universes. And I got to tell you, there wasn't anything in those universes that I recognized from anywhere else, from a comic book or from a TV show or an old movie. So it was like, that was your opportunity to be like, oh shit, that's the X-Men animated. Oh shit, that's Spider-Man No Way Home's, or that's Sam Raimi's Spider-Man's universe right there. Cause I saw Dr. Octopus in the background. It was just like they were going through different things. Like one of the things was paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them was a cartoon that they went through. Then another one was like, like a futuristic town, then like a hellish town. And then it was just like really quickly going through it. And then we get to this town where they call the 838 universe, I believe it was. And this is where we get into like most of the second or third act right here. This is where we get the Illuminati, Baron Mordo, and all the stuff like that. I just really feel like for something called the Multiverse of Madness, this was their opportunity for us to visit different places, and they didn't do that. B, how did you feel about the multiverses? I mean, were you really just did you really want more than what they were showing, or was this okay for you?
I wanted more, because especially like
Hmm.
the more we see, like, with the What If show and all the talk about multiverse from the last couple of shows and movies, my expectation was not even like callbacks or anything like it, but just to like for them to be stuck somewhere for a second. Maybe her power kicks in, and they fly and they land somewhere else, and like what? Even if they have like a line, and they say something about where they are, like what the hell, and then whoa, like they get dragged through the portal. But it was just them
Right.
flying like Looney Tunes style through the portals for about 30 seconds. So like even if they
Yeah.
got stuck and then like kind of almost like you said, like in Doctor Strange 1, when she gave him the touch and he got to see all the things, he experienced a lot of those moments. They paused for a second. He saw them. He got freaked out. He went into the sky. There was a butterfly. Like it was all these things that he got to experience. Whereas they just flew
Hmm.
through this. So like if they had landed, hit the ground, like he says a line and then the portal opens up again. They fly through another one. Like that would have been better than just them
Yeah.
Hmm.
flying until they landed. There was like 30 seconds of them just flying and be like, oh, cartoon, oh, hell, oh, this, oh, that. It was just kind of like,
Yeah.
man. And then all in all, we got
Hmm.
4 universes. You know, we had the Incursion universe, our 838. We had that realm in between the multiverse, which is also another thing that's kind of weird to me,
The
considering
Dark
we have.
Dimension.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's called. I don't know. Like, it was just
That's where Dormammu's at.
oh,
The
not
Dark
that one,
Dimension.
not that one. It's the one where the book
Okay.
was, the Book of All Good, like that in
Okay.
between
Yeah, that was in the
multiverse.
in between. Yeah, the in
Which
between universe or something.
how many things are in between is the other thing for me, because the TVA is in between time. You know, so like, you know, there's a lot of like, why is that there? Like, that could have been in a universe, a multiverse. That could have been
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and then we were in our 616, which is also a big problem for me. Why is it the 616 universe? We established that this was MCU 19999999. You know, like, why are we now MCU 616? The 616 is the comics. And we
Right.
tried to say that this isn't the comics. So I was really let down, especially when in Far From Home, Mysterio says, oh, that we're Universe 616. So now,
And he's supposed to be telling a lie. So did he
yeah.
know?
So like, did he
Yeah.
know? Like, it's inconsistent. You know, like, I understand why Sam
Yeah.
Raimi did it, because Marvel 616. But like, at the same time, I actually really enjoyed the idea that this was somewhere different. So to
Yeah. I
make
mean, Al,
this
don't you feel like they
616, I was like,
missed out? Yeah, definitely. I feel like I was saying before, I feel like they missed out on an opportunity. Like, even if they landed in the dinosaur realm, they could have did Turok, or they could have just done the Savage Lands.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been a simple, like, hey, for you comic book fans, hey, for
Yeah.
you movie fans, look at this real quick.
Yeah, they
You
could
know,
have
but
landed
they
in a.
just
And even if
yeah,
you want to go with the thing that her fear is what does it, you could have landed them in a couple of different scenarios where they go to a universe and maybe the Avengers are the bad guys. So they start
oh,
getting attacked by
that would have been
Avengers,
amazing.
and out of fear, she prompts a portal. They go to another world. They go to a strange, and now he's, for whatever reason, again, he's not a bad guy, not a good guy. Maybe he's more of a loner.
Right.
And same thing, he's going, like, you could have done a couple of universes where you show a variation of the people, or to the point where, you have the same person, but they look, they're being portrayed by somebody different now,
yeah,
and having that interaction before they finally get to the one that they're supposed to get to.
and like, not
And
for
instead
nothing,
of
they did it better
her,
in What If. They
yeah,
did the same thing
yeah.
in What If, the
So
same exact scene. But just like Al said, they landed there. Steve Rogers was president in one. Then they got thrown to another multiverse, and in this universe, somebody was bad. Right? So, like, they did exactly what
mhm,
Al said in the What If episodes. Why is it so much cheesier in
Right.
the Doctor Strange movie?
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
especially if you're saying Multiverse of Madness, that would have been crazy. Like, yo, did you see what Steve was about to do, or did you see what, like, whoever's still around, that's an Avenger or somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have brought all of these in, or just had like Captain America, who's still Captain America, but is not being portrayed by Chris Evans. They're being portrayed by somebody else.
Right.
That's why I kind of like that idea of a Tom Cruise Iron Man. Like, what if in these different worlds somebody else became
Plays
that?
those
Or
characters.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely,
thought that
man.
would have been a good opportunity that they missed out on, and it became weak. That it just became that one Doctor Strange, and then it leads us to the Illuminati, and that whole, what I thought was it felt like fan service, like those characters, like being coming, especially the Mr. Fantastic being played by Krasinski, like
Hmm.
that to me feels like it was, because I really want, like I said last week,
Yeah, you
I'm
said it
one of
last
those guys.
episode. Yeah.
I want him as Mr. Fantastic. So for them to throw him into this scene felt like, all right, guys, you got it. Now shut up. And then when they do actually bring this Fantastic Four movie, it's going to be in a different universe, or it's going to be in the 616 universe, but
Mm,
being portrayed by somebody else. So it was like,
gotcha.
all right, we gave you guys what you wanted, but now we're going to do what we want. And I felt like that was what they did with all of these characters.
Hmm. Absolutely, man. And I got to tell you, I feel the same way with you about John Krasinski, because for as much hype as he got to be Mr. Fantastic, when we finally saw him, he almost looked out of place. It was so
Mm-hmm.
weird. It was like, oh,
It was the
you
extra
look weird
hair.
as
It was the hair. The facial
okay,
hair
that's
was
what it was.
very weird.
but at the same time, I expected to be like, oh my god, it's Mr. Fantastic. But all I kept saying was, no, that's the guy from freaking The Office, man.
That's
Like,
Jim.
what's he doing here?
I did. When he showed up, I was like, oh shit, they did it. But it was just,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
definitely,
what they
definitely.
did about his hair, but it just looked weird. Like he looked like the curly head kid that was like picked on the school bus. Like like that,
Uh-huh.
like it looked so out of place with the hair. It was something about the hair that just didn't work.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. And listen, let's talk about the Illuminati and that whole craziness, because I mean, listen, they did show it a little bit in the trailers, and just let's just put this down. I'm pretty sure we're all going to say the same thing. Had they not shown that in the trailers, the theater would have lost it.
It would have been crazy.
Yep.
It
Kid.
would have been like,
Another moment
what?
ruined.
Yep. They
Yeah.
should have did with that like they did with the extra Spider-Man in No Way Home. Don't I mean let everybody think it, let everybody assume it's there, but don't confirm it until the movie.
Yeah,
They should have
man.
just stuck more of the Shumagorath scene in the trailers, just to be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what's happening in the movie, and then all of a sudden this pops up. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that would have blown our mind if they had said, "Let's take you to the Illuminati." We would have been like, "Whoa, whoa, what? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
who are we about to see?" But we all were expecting for it, waiting for it to happen.
it was just who was
I
going to be
didn't think
there.
it was. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean. And I gotta tell you, I was a little shocked with some of the people that I did see there, but then again, I wasn't shocked with some of it because it's been like rumored and leaked a couple times. That uh Luana Lynch, is it her name, the real name? But she was, I forgot what she was. Her name in the
Monica
Captain
Rambeau.
Marvel movie, Monica
Yeah.
Rambeau as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
With Captain Carter, or Captain Carter or
Yeah.
Captain Britain kind of thing with the Shield, and then we also had, of course, John Krasinski has been leaked over and over, but there was nothing proven wise. And look at how big the pop was.
Yeah.
Right, when he showed up on the screen, when he got scanned in, we were like, "Oh shit!" But he was
Yeah.
always rumored to be in this movie.
Yeah.
But we didn't get confirmation until we saw it. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And then Brandon called it out. Brandon, when he heard the theme, he was like, "Oh shit, that's the X-Men theme."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my gosh, when they did it.
That was pretty cool. But I gotta tell you, the one I did not expect, Black Bolt.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Whoa.
And it was the actor. It was Anson
It
Mount.
was the
Yeah,
actor.
no,
was
it
the
Yeah.
was him.
actor.
Yeah, it was him.
I
It
was
was the actor from the Inhumans TV show.
I couldn't believe it. I blew me away. I was like, no, they really did it.
Yeah.
I rather took Namor. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I was surprised. I was very surprised that there wasn't a version of Black Panther up there and Namor. I was just like, really?
I was
Mm-hmm.
surprised that the Tom Cruise leak wasn't true
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it makes sense to me after the fact because Tom Cruise doesn't die. So you can't have a movie where Tom Cruise dies. That's the rule. Tom Cruise
Is
doesn't
it not in
die.
his contracts?
Not
I
his
don't think it's in
contract, B.
any of his contracts. Have you ever seen Tom Cruise die? The only movie he dies is The Mummy, and he's supposed to.
It's crazy, man. But let's give Brandon kudos where kudos is due. All episode last week, Brandon was like, they're going to be gutted.
Get it.
And I did not expect what I saw. I mean, Al,
Yeah.
talk to me, man. What was your thoughts on
It was
the
crazy because
Illuminati?
kid, it was crazy because you lead off with Mr. Fantastic and the way she did him. She turned him into like string cheese, and then with that little pop when she gets to his head, I was like, what did I just kid?
Dude.
And then the way she just goes at them, but it was their fault again. Why are you attacking one on one? Like like they should have let in with Captain Marvel, and when she has her overwhelmed, then the rest of y'all come in and do something. Like,
Yeah.
attacking her one on one, and you saw what she just did to one of your smarter, more leaders, or so to speak.
Man.
And but the one that I was disappointed with was Professor X. As powerful as he's supposed to be of a mentalist, I thought he would have been able to put up more of a fight in that mind battle. And for her to just be able to come up and sneak up behind him as a cloud of smoke and then break his neck like that, I thought that was a disservice to his character. Like,
Yo,
he's
dude,
not
that was
supposed to.
crazy.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
the
I would have
craziest was
Nuts.
the
thought it.
Black Bolt. What they
Bang.
the Black Bolt one,
Bang, son.
dude. I think it
Yeah,
was just
she
dirty.
matrixed him.
Dude, I think the dirtiest part of it wasn't even when she took his mouth away, but it was the pop when they finally exploded his head. Was the fucking pop. That was crazy. I was like, they really did that? Just the boop. And I was like, oh my god, his head just exploded. On a Marvel movie.
No. That wasn't crazy. The craziest thing that was said was what she says. He says, I
He
have
can
a
kill you with his
family
mouth.
too. She's like, good. That means there's someone else that can be with them.
Oh yeah, he said I have kids too, and she goes, "Is their mother still alive?" I was like, "Yo, who is
Dude,
writing her lines?"
What mouth?
ruthless.
What mouth?
That was another one right there. That was another one right there.
What
What mouth? He goes, one sound from his mouth can destroy you. She's like,
What?
motherfucker, what mouth? What mouth? And then all of a sudden he's like,
Yeah.
and then when he did the I was like, that's a sound.
That was it. That was the sound.
Dude, that was so dirty. And like a part of me is like, yeah, that's super cool to see these characters we haven't seen and we didn't expect to see come in.
Mm-hmm.
But then to just take them out so fast, kind of like, I get what they're doing. They're trying to show you how powerful Wanda is, that she can defeat the Illuminati who beat Thanos, which was, by the way, great shout out to see Thanos one more time.
Yeah.
But these guys defeated Thanos by them with the 6 of them or 7 of them with Doctor Strange. And then it's like, here's Wanda that takes them out. So that's their way of showing Wanda's like ridiculous as far as power goes. All right, now what? Like, if she's that powerful, then who has a chance here?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
telling me
that's my
our
part.
Doctor Strange can take that? Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah, but that's my overall problem with the MCU right now is where are these stories? Where are they leading to? Like, is there going to be a
Still don't
big
know.
bad? What's the culmination of this phase? Like, what is it leading to? I don't see. We're in this 5th or 6th movie of this phase.
To be real with you, Al, I think where it's well, not where it's possibly leading, where it's definitely leading to be with the amount of times that they said incursion is Secret Wars, right? But at the same time, we still don't know. So what happened at the end of Black Widow? There, we don't know where the new Black Widow is, the Florence Pugh version.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, we still don't know what's up with the rings.
Kang.
Yeah.
Kang, where not once. I thought we were gonna see Kang in the end of Moon Knight or something else. No.
No.
No. I think Al, you
Eternals.
mentioned before that Kang is a grandson or a son of Reed Richards.
Yeah, he's like a descendant
He's a
of Reed
descendant,
Descendant of
Richards.
Reed
yeah.
Richards.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we'd see him in that point. No.
Mm-mm.
So, but then again, that goes to I guess either us knowing about comic books, knowing about the videos and games and these characters so long in our lives that we're expecting to see certain things. And again, one of my big disappointments is there was so much opportunities with the Multiverse of Madness that we could have seen more people than just these 6 people.
Yeah.
I thought Brandon had a really cool one, which was he wanted one of the guards to be Wolverine.
That would
I
be
thought that
cool.
would have been amazing. There's no reason why there's no other characters in that building with those Illuminati. You know what I mean? Like, well, then again, I guess the Illuminati is a secret, group of people,
But
so they
like
don't let everyone know.
even like the
Yeah.
whole Ultron thing, you don't have a Banner and you don't have an Iron Man. So you're telling me that while I understand Mr. Fantastic could probably make an Ultron was based off of the Iron Man kind of symbol and idea and suit. So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
that's why I was assuming there was going to be a Tom Cruise, just because like it made sense that he would be the one, like Iron Man would be the one to make the Ultron that worked.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, look. Overall, I think the fight was cool. I mean, if you want to call it a fight, she destroyed them,
No,
Gutted them.
But gutted them, right?
especially
But
Gutted them.
Peggy.
Jesus, she took the shield right in half, dude. Oh God, and it was. You want to be like, wow, that was awesome to see. Like the chances of us seeing something like that is just crazy. We would have never have guessed to see something like that before, but I think a part of the issue is they showed it in the trailers. So we were like, if they showed that in the trailers, what's really in the movie?
Yeah,
And that
kid.
didn't happen,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So that's, I
yeah. That's
guess,
what I'm
kind of the
saying.
letdown on our part here.
Yeah,
You know,
they gave the opportunity for so much craziness that it didn't happen.
yeah, it didn't happen. Not only that, but there was expectations of like, before we get to the ending of this movie, which is we thought Wanda at some point was going to say no more mutants, and this is how the X-Men were going to come into play. Yeah, no, X-Men, no, we still don't have a way that they're going to come into this world. I don't see it now. If it didn't happen now, I can't see how it happens. I
Yeah,
don't see where the X-Men are coming in, or like these mutants are going to be coming in.
yeah.
And like I
And that
actually
actually,
I wasn't a big fan of the Baron Mordo stuff. Just because like
Mm,
we left off in the first Doctor Strange with him in this vendetta. So yeah, I understand that, Infinity War happened, Endgame happened, there was this 5 year jump, but like did he succeed? Like what is he doing to the fact that Doctor Strange knows all about his agenda, and has he stopped him? Was that happening off screen? Like,
right.
this seems like a big deal. And then this Baron Mordo, they have their whole exchange, X, Y, and Z. But then, like, then what's going on with our Baron Mordo? Like, like it kind of seems like a cheap cop out to as a way of saying, no, no, don't worry. Like, no matter what Baron Mordo comes, like I can still beat them.
Yeah, man, I got you.
yeah.
And Al, you were going to say something before.
No, that just going back to the whole thing with the multiverses, there could have been a multiverse showing like I don't know if whether an X Men, like a Wolverine, or maybe like a Storm show, and you don't even have to say a Storm. Just have, like a woman with white hair coming
Controlling
talking
the
about,
elements somewhere.
yeah, or doing something, or even just raising her hand, and as she goes to raise her hand, all of a sudden you go, like, or or a guy with amber colored sunglasses and answering to the name of Scott. Like you could
Right.
have done a number of things to like allude to what's coming and just hide behind, oh well, that was a different universe. Like they could
Yeah.
have just like had so much fun with it and they didn't.
Yeah, definitely, man. So let's get right into the ending of this movie, which is the battle at the end with Wanda Maximoff to kind of stop her from taking over, America Chavez's powers to then control and take on, one of her many versions of Wanda with children. She was going to take out that Wanda and somehow just take the children. Like they were going to be cool with that and treat her like a mom. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
just no thought process on that part. But the battle really wasn't a battle. I think the coolest parts of that was the four monsters that came to like put, like, I guess, praise her or whatever, because they didn't do anything besides that. And then they
Yeah.
try to fight Wong and a zombie Strange,
Yeah,
which by the way was pretty cool. That whole
that was
Yeah.
zombie
pretty
thing with
cool.
with Strange, and it was weird to look at. And again, I think something that kids can't see, because that's kind of weird. Like his half his face was missing,
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like the whole
but it
dialogue
was
with
still
America
interesting.
at the end, like with half his face missing. I was
Oh,
like,
that was so
who?
weird to look at.
Yeah, I was like, who is finding this encouraging right now?
Dude, that was so crazy. Like, even the stuff with the Sinister Strange with the third eye and all that stuff was just weird,
Yeah.
because it just seemed like he was just waiting for Doctor Strange to come in so he could fight him and take him. And then they had the musical battle that Brandon was talking about earlier. It was interesting. Nothing
Yeah.
crazy. But this whole like sleepwalk thing, like no, not sleepwalk,
Dreamwalk.
dreamwalk.
Yeah.
Dreamwalk. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a little weird concept there. And the fact that he used this dead body to dreamwalk was kind of crazy, man.
I thought that
Yeah. I
was
thought that was
cool.
crazy.
But yeah, the ending there, I get it. It was the Chavez moment. It was the get some weird in with the zombie Strange. But like, I feel like the zombie strange was like, I feel like the zombie strange should have gotten there, and then a portal opens up and brings in the other strange. Like, like it was just a little much for zombie strange to be so encouraging to do all these things, and it was like, I don't want to look at him like this. Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, man. And Al, what do you think of that last? I mean, because the battle really wasn't a battle. It was just we finally got to a point where Wanda was shown. You really want to take another Wanda out so you can take their kids? Go play it out.
Yeah, and I think that was the best. Like that was the best way to play, because at that point they had made Wanda too powerful.
Right.
Like there was, at this point you've shown, like if you beat her any other way than her beating herself, it would have come off as, convenient. So I like the fact that they used her beating herself, like her getting what she wanted and her having to realize, I can't have what I want.
Right.
Because like she was asked earlier, what are you going to do with these other kids? Like they're going to have been knowing another you as their mom, and you're not that Wanda anymore. So like her seeing her, because she kept saying, I'm not a monster, even though she had killed everybody, burned people alive, and did
she say I wouldn't hurt anyone? I'm like, you just killed like 50 people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And and I like the way they did it, that it took her having to see the fear in her kids' eyes upon looking at her to realize that, yes, she had become the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought the way they did that, I mean, even like you said, it wasn't a battle, but to me, it was good, because it that was going to be the only way to beat her.
Gotcha. And and Al, real quick, man, your thoughts on her like sealing in herself within the tomb?
I don't know if I don't think she died in there. And I think maybe as a self-preservation at the end, she transported herself or something, because when the building fell, I don't know if that was supposed to portray her dying and exploding, but there was like a flash of her.
Of red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that flash.
Yeah.
Too.
So I don't know if that's like her getting herself out or using her magic somehow, but there's no way she's dead, so
I just don't want them to retcon that scene and have it like, oh, well, what you didn't see behind the building was Vision flying in and like, I don't want that scene retcon to be something stupid. No, you did that, you live with it, and then we'll fix it later. Like, don't retcon that.
I think that was just a way to kind of like keep her out of the MCU for a little bit. I think she's done for now. She did the WandaVision series. She did this. Avengers, Endgame, all that stuff. She's done too much. So she's like, I need a break.
But that's like also my problem. And I mean, not my problem with the actors taking time off, but...
No, that is your problem, Brandon.
That is my problem. Because, this movie gives us... is telling us that Wanda's taking a break. Which means, is Vision taking a break? A longer break? So
apparently
like,
he is. He didn't show up in this shit,
right? Yeah. And then Benedict Cumberbatch is also taking a break. And like, I don't know what this guy's been telling anybody, but he had like 5 years off for a while. Like, Doctor Strange came out in 2016, okay, and he didn't do much in anything other than Infinity War. So don't let that guy tell you that he's been busy. All right? Because like he's like, oh, I gotta take some time off. I was like, my dude, you just ended this movie telling me that there's gonna be a third one. Like, I'm not waiting 6 more years for another Doctor Strange movie. I don't know if the series is worth it for me to wait another 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the end, one of the end credit scenes was we're used to seeing this person will return in something. This one said Doctor Strange will return. So at least we know we're going to see him again. Well, we're going to have to see him again. He's alive, so it's like.
I actually really liked the ending scene when he was fixing the watch, because it took me a second to catch hold onto how the Darkhold had affected him, because his hands weren't shaking anymore and he was able to fix the watch with his hands. And I was like, oh shit, like that's actually pretty cool.
You
like,
caught that one early. You caught that early. I heard you. You were right next to me. You were like, hey, his hands are not shaking. I'm like, what are you talking about? Stop being stupid.
Like in the beginning of the movie, he couldn't even do his tie. Like he tried to do his tie and then he let the magic do it. And then he was able to sit there and do his watch. And I was like, oh shit, like that's the Darkhold. That's what it did.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden,
Did a positive.
Yeah,
Oh, that third eye shit is weird. Like, Brandon, tell me, in the comic books, what does the third eye mean, or what does it do? Is it just ugly?
It's actually in the comic books. It's actually the Eye of Agamotto. So it's the physical manifestation of the Eye of Agamotto. So it actually has a use
Right.
in the comics, and it is something that he has used in the comics. It didn't stick around that long, but it was like an actual way of accessing more power for the Sorcerer Supreme, was to actually tap into the Eye of Agamotto, which is stupid because he wears it around his neck still for some reason, even though there's no stone in it. And that's the only thing that was special about the necklace.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. And then we get to the end credit scene here. Like, well, so again, we talked about the the Sinister Strange battle, which was okay. Was the music stuff that Brandon talked about? We got the ending fight with with Wong, American Chavez, and Doctor Strange versus Wanda. We get the ending, which she just like pretty much puts the whole building down on top of herself, and we get the third eye. So we get to the first mid-credit scene, and this is the one where everybody was like, well, we know it's Charlize Theron, but who the fuck is she playing? Like, Al was like, is that an Eternal? And I was like, not for nothing. Now she looks like an Eternal.
Is that Psylocke?
So it wasn't. Yeah, she had like a Psylocke sword there. But it took me to go home and do a Google search of who the hell was at the post credits in the mid credits scene, and she's playing a character named Clea.
Yeah.
Which happens to be one of Doctor Strange's wives or girlfriends or love interests in the comic books, but also again has to deal with the multiverse and the incursion and secret wars down the road. But like with no context, there's a lot of us that won't know that.
Yeah.
So like, how is that like a crowd pleaser at the end of your movie? Like half the studio was like, "Who the fuck was that?" Like, it's just. Crazy,
that's why
man,
I feel like that's a scene in the next movie.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, but I don't think they're filming Secret Wars just yet. They got a long way to go.
For some time, yeah.
So, I want to ask you guys one last question about this whole movie and what's coming next for Marvel. And I got to ask you guys this. So, B, I'm going to hit you off first, B. With this supposed to be the Multiverse of Madness, and it doesn't seem like it's ending in here. I thought it was going to be a 3-chapter story. They said WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange 2. That was supposed to be one whole story. It doesn't feel like a story at all. And 2, it seems like the multiverse is going to continue to be a play or a feature of this next phase of the MCU. I'm a little bit over it right now, especially because they didn't really do anything much with it besides a couple of cool scenes here and there. Where are you at with the multiverse, B? Are you done? Are you good? Or you want to still see more?
It's not that I'm done. I just think Marvel has very overcomplicated the concept of it. Like, I think honestly, if they didn't do like the whole time thing in Loki, it may have been better. But like, we introduced the time, we introduced the branches. That maybe has to do with the multiverse. Then there's the multiverse, Nexus events, incursions. There's all these factors that were like, oh, vocabulary words. So we're like, how does this play, and how does that make sense with things that already happened in these shows and movies?
Right.
So like, while I'm not over it, it just seems to me like this is going to be Marvel's play to introduce a new universe in which we'll have the X-Men and the Fantastic Four as a reason to say why they're not already in the MCU and how they're going to meet for something like Secret Wars.
Yeah, I kind of feel you, B. I feel like they're going to go to the Secret Wars and reboot the entire universe.
Well,
and bring back Iron Man, Captain America, all these classic characters. These characters they're bringing out now, like the Eternals, get those fuckers out of the screen, man. Like, I could care less for a Cersei. Give me Cap.
yeah, man.
You give me that.
How about yourself, man? How do you how'd you find? What do you think about the multiverse and this it's continuation going on? For
it's a cool concept, but like, if there's all these incursions and one of the universes has to go, because from what I understand, that's what Secret Wars was all the universes battling each other to make sure that their universe survived.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what's happening, then you have to introduce a bad universe, because if ours is going to survive because the incursion is going taking place between us and another universe, then for us to really root for it, it's got to be a bad universe, for lack of a better way of describing them.
Right.
So they could have introduced that universe here. Again, they had so
Yeah.
many opportunities, and they could have done that here, and at least we could have seen them and said, "Oh shit, that's what's coming."
Right.
And then having them find out, "Oh shit, there's another universe with us in it," and it would have explained. And then the next thing could have hinted to them coming to our universe and battling us, and then that would explain that incursion.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, if you're going to bring up incursion and need to put the stress on our universe, it's got to be that there's another universe trying to come in, and it can't be another bunch of good guys.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah, so
I hear you, man. And you know what? I know this. I said that was the last one, but actually got one last question because I just thought of it just now, man. And that's this one. Let's disregard the Disney Plus shows in the last 2 years. So we've had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and now Doctor Strange too, right? I'm not forgetting anything in there, right, Brandon?
Nope, that's it.
yeah.
Right? So those 4 movies. Al, how you feel Phase 4 is going so far? Is it up to par with what we've seen before, or is it trending down, or are you looking forward to more? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I'm lucky.
Phase 4.
Each movie on its own has been good, so I'm still looking forward to the next Marvel movie because I know I'm going to be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm no longer expecting cohesion between them. Like, there's nothing that stands out in each of these movies other than the fact that they refer to people from the other movie
Mm-hmm.
that says that they're all happening in the same universe anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that's by design or if it's just a lack of guidance on a central theme that they want to do throughout the stories.
Yeah.
But in reality, if you think of No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2, other than the fact that Doctor Strange was in both of them, there's no connection. You
None.
can't see how the events of one led or caused into the other, or had a
Mm-hmm.
factor in something, or that the two events together seem to be leading towards something.
Yeah, it seemed
But
like
you
the
had
only
that in
difference
all.
was America Chavez not being in the other one.
Yeah, yeah. Even though she was supposed to, but still, there's nothing like, at least for phase one, like you saw little hints of everything leading to some place, to something. You saw hints in the after credits of every movie of who was coming next, where we
Mm-hmm.
were going next in the story, how that was leading up to the big bad, and so forth. Like the elements of the Infinity Stones and their importance and what they do and everything was
Mm-hmm.
being hinted throughout different movies. There's nothing common, like there's no big overall arching story between these movies. So other than them being great individual stories, like I don't know where we're going with this, or should we just be accepting, no, there's no more big story, we're just getting a bunch of great individual stories. So,
Yeah.
but I like that overarching. I like knowing that this is one big universe, and
Leading to something.
eventually these people that keep referring to each other will eventually need to come help each other. And
Right.
that's what the Avenger movies always were, and like I can't see how we're not having that again, given the extent and grandeur of
Mm-hmm.
the events that are happening in these movies. Like you're telling me this shit is happening with Doctor Strange, and all this shit is happening, and he don't call on an Avenger like for help.
Yeah.
Wanda's gonna attack, and you don't say, "Yo, maybe I should get some help."
Where's Hawkeye? Where's
Maybe I
our
should
Yeah.
pal
call the
Hawkeye?
Archer.
Wait. But didn't Doctor Strange play Hawkeye this way? He's like, what? I was gonna get the Archer.
The
Really?
guy with the mohawk.
Guy with the mohawk. How about you, B man? What's your thoughts on the 4 movies we got in Phase 4 so far? I mean, I know that Disney Plus is part of it, and that's kind of like help bridge some of this space and between 2 years of just 4 movies so far. I mean, we got Thor coming up soon and Black Panther coming up soon. But as of right now, the Phase 4, I've been okay. I mean, it's been cool, but it's only been cool for me because of the Disney Plus. Had it been just the movies, I'd be like, it's all right, you know.
Yeah,
How about
I,
you?
I feel the same. A little bit of both of you guys is that I feel like Phase 4. It's not that it's lackluster, but I feel like they're doing a lot of building after a time that I've seen them build. Like they had this fantastic conclusion and masterpiece, and now we're back to building again. And I feel like after the 12, 13 years that it's been, I'm still stuck in, well, we had this huge thing, and all of these huge things are happening, and they're trying to build, but making huge things happen in these small spaces, kind of trying to keep that flow of things, but it's not there right now. So
Right.
like just like Hal says, like there's not a lot of cohesive, like there's no cohesion there in the movies, but it seems like they're trying to do a lot of building for what's going to be the next 10 years. And like while that's
Yeah.
great, I am alive right now. And I don't know, like like I'm alive right now, and I want to see these movies do something next year. So
Right.
like even with Thor, this is presumably the last Thor movie that's going to happen for a long time. This is Thor number 4. Even if they switch it and it goes over to Lady Thor, they can do that. But like, this is our last Thor movie. This could potentially be the last Black Panther movie. After a really devastating time. So like to see where these movies go now, it almost seems like some of these movies are going to be concluding their stories, because I don't know if a lot of these movies should continue forward. Like, we have no idea what this next Black Panther is going to be like, but at the same time, given the circumstance around Chadwick Boseman, it almost feels like maybe this Black Panther movie should be it.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
like, and it's tough because there was so much potential for where that could have gone. And like that, obviously, that's out of everybody's hands. That's something that you can't control the events of an actual person's life. But considering where we are possibly going in the MCU, like that, we have no idea where we're going. And the time it took for the first decade of the MCU to get to where it got to now, do we have that same amount of time? So that's my kind of thinking.
I hear you, man. Hashtag recast T'Challa. Yeah, man. Listen, it with all the stuff that we talked about, again, bottom line, Al loved this movie. Brandon liked the movie. I liked the movie. We need to see, should see. Basically, got to go see this movie. This movie's, it's pretty cool, man. And as much as we said negative stuff about it, there's still a whole bunch of fun to be had in seeing the movie. You know what I mean? Especially experiencing the Illuminati part. That alone makes me want to see it for a second time. I'm definitely going to buy it on Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray, whatever it is, and watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus. So it's still a good movie. Just, I expected more, but bottom line, good movie, man. So listen, that is our podcast for tonight, the Doctor Strange 2 or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness review. Next week, we're going to probably start talking about the movies coming out for this month and next month and try to get ready for something like, what is it, Top Gun 2?
Yeah, Maverick.
Oh, yeah.
Maverick.
Oh, yeah. Maverick. So listen, we'll come up with some different topics to talk about. Maybe we'll let you know how Moon Knight episode 6 was disappointing. We'll figure it out. But listen, we're coming out of Long Island, New York. We are the Real Fan Review. If you are entertained by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, or you didn't like Doctor Strange 2, comment below on the YouTube if you're watching on the video, or if you want to give us an email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. We do this every week where we put out a podcast. So please hit that plus symbol on your podcast playlist so that way we come up for you. Or if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. That way we get that episode out to you every time we come out with a new episode. So saying goodbye from Long Island, New York, we got my brother B.
Bye, everybody.
We got our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
And myself, Hav, saying thank you guys for listening, watching, and just being along with us, watching these movies. We'll catch you on the next episode. Until next time.